turned into a battle for survival. Stay with us till the end, and you will see exactly how this unarmed supply ship faced overwhelming odds and how the U.S. Navy turned the tide. Like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. The Gulf of Aden has always been a dangerous stretch of water, lies between Yemen on the north and Somalia on the south. For decades, pirates have used these waters to attack cargo ships, oil tankers, and even naval vessels. The area connects the Red Sea to the Arabian Sea, making it a key route for global shipping. Every day, hundreds of commercial and military ships pass through these waters. The U.S. Navy keeps a constant presence here to protect supply lines and maintain regional stability. On this particular night, the U.S. Navy supply ship was on a routine mission. Its job was simple: deliver food, ammunition, and fuel to other U.S. naval vessels operating in the Arabian Sea. Though non-combatant, the ship carried a small security team trained to handle potential threats. There were roughly 120 crew members on board. Most were sailors, but some were civilian mariners who helped with logistics. Everyone on deck was alert. Intelligence reports had warned of increased pirate activity in the area. A recent spike in attacks had already caused concern in the Naval Command Center. The ship's captain, a seasoned officer with decades at sea, knew the risks. He had sailed this route many times. Still, he relied on vigilance and strict procedures to keep his crew safe. Communication with nearby U.S. and Allied vessels was critical. Destroyers patrolled the nearby waters. Coalition maritime patrols monitored the region from the air. But even with these measures, pirates had often found ways to strike in small numbers. What no one expected was 31 boats attacking at the same time. The night itself made the situation more dangerous. A new moon meant the sky was pitch black. The waves were rough, and the wind howled across the deck. The crew's eyes strained to see anything moving beyond the radar. The radar operator scanning the horizon spotted multiple blips. At first, they seemed small, scattered. Then, they started moving in formation. Speedboats, larger fishing vessels. The blips multiplied. 31 fast-moving targets were closing in, heading straight for the supply ship. Inside the ship, the crew moved quickly. General quarters was sounded. Every sailor knew their duty. Engineers rushed to ensure engines were ready for evasive maneuvers. Gun crews checked weapons, and the security team prepared for contact. The captain called the nearby destroyers on the radio, alerting them to the situation. At the same time, the ship's electronic warfare officer began monitoring signals. Pirates often used radios to coordinate attacks, and detecting these communications could give the crew an edge. Meanwhile, the pirates were organizing their approach. Somali pirate gangs were known for using small, fast boats to swarm larger ships. They often relied on speed, surprise, and intimidation. Some boats carried RPGs and machine guns. Others had empty decks, but acted as decoys to distract the defenders. Their strategy was simple: surround the target and board if possible. This night, however, they had far more vessels than usual, and their numbers could overwhelm most defenses. The tension on the supply ship was palpable. Crew members whispered and scanned the dark waters. The radar screen was alive with movement. Each second brought the approaching threat closer. They knew that even a single well-placed RPG could cause serious damage. The captain paced the bridge, issuing orders, making last-minute preparations. Every sailor understood the stakes. Survival depended on discipline, coordination, and quick action. As the first hints of movement appeared in the night, the crew realized that this would not be an ordinary encounter. The usual drills and precautions might not be enough. Third, one pirate boats were closing fast. The calm of the night was gone. What started as a routine mission had become a test of courage and skill. The radar blips kept multiplying, each one representing a potential threat. The crew held their positions, ready to defend the ship and each other. The stage was set. The clock ticked. 2:13 a.m. grew closer to the moment of contact. The crew waited, tense and focused. This was the calm before a storm that would test the limits of their training, their teamwork, and their nerves. The pirates approached, unaware that the ship they had targeted was not just a supply vessel, but a highly disciplined unit capable of striking back with precision. In that darkness, with the sea rising and the enemy closing in, the story of one of the most daring maritime encounters in recent history was about to unfold. 2:13 a.m., the radar operator's voice broke the silence. multiple contacts closing fast. Bearing 045, range 2,000 meters. The crew barely had a moment to register the blips before the first speedboats appeared through the darkness. 31 pirate vessels armed with small arms and RPGs moved with frightening coordination. The water churned as the boats sliced through the waves, their silhouettes barely visible. The night air was thick with tension, broken only by the ship's alarms and the sound of the wind. The captain issued orders immediately. General quarters. All hands to battle stations. Sailors ran to man the ship's defensive positions. Gun crews checked M2, 50 caliber machine guns. The Mk-38 25mm autocannon was brought online, ready to engage. Engineers ensured the engines were at full power. Every crew member understood that hesitation could mean disaster. The supply ship was not built for combat, but the crew's training would make the difference. At 2:15, the first pirate boat came within 800 meters. It fired its first shots, machine gun rounds sparking in the air. The crew responded with precision fire from the 50 cals. Tracers crisscrossed the night sky as the two forces clashed. One pirate boat took direct hits and began to burn. The crew felt a brief sense of relief, but they knew this was only the beginning. Dozens of boats were still approaching. The pirates' tactics became clear. They tried to split into groups. Some engaged the ship directly, drawing defensive fire. Others maneuvered on the flanks, attempting to encircle the vessel. A few used larger fishing boats as mother ships, directing smaller speedboats in coordinated attacks. One group even attempted a diversion on the starboard side, trying to create confusion. The crew held their positions, trained to follow procedures under fire. Every sailor knew their role and executed it without hesitation. By 2:20, the pirates were closing to within 300 meters. An RPG streaked through the night toward the supply ship, landing just meters from the stern and creating a violent spray of water. Crew members felt the blast, but the ship's reinforced hull absorbed the impact. The security team returned fire, targeting the speedboats approaching the closest distance. 2 boats were disabled in quick succession. Smoke rose from the decks of the burning pirate vessels. The night became a chaotic battlefield of fire, water, and gunfire. Meanwhile, the ship's bridge monitored every movement on the radar. Coordination with nearby allies became critical. The captain called USS Mason, a guided missile destroyer, requesting support. Minutes later, the P-8A Poseidon patrol aircraft was overhead, scanning for the pirate mother ship. The presence of reinforcements added a layer of confidence to the crew, but they remained fully engaged in the immediate threat. At 2:27, the pirates attempted to board. 2 small boats moved aggressively toward the port side. Crew members manning the water cannons unleashed a torrent of high-pressure streams, forcing the attackers back. Simultaneously, the Mk-38 fired warning bursts, keeping the boarding attempts at bay. The pirates' coordination faltered as they realized that the supply ship was not an easy target. The engagement continued for nearly 20 minutes. The pirates had underestimated the crew's training, the ship's defensive systems, and the effectiveness of teamwork under pressure. Several pirate boats were disabled or destroyed. Some attempted to retreat, while others were captured by coalition forces converging from nearby waters. Dues! Tracers streaked across the waves, explosions illuminated the night, and the smell of smoke and gunpowder filled the air. By 2:40, the last of the active pirate vessels began to withdraw. The supply ship had sustained minor damage. A few small fires were quickly extinguished by the damage control team. One crew member was injured but stable. The battle had lasted less than 30 minutes, but every second had been a test of endurance and discipline. The pirates' plan to overwhelm the ship had failed. The crew took a moment to regroup. Radios crackled as reports were sent to command. Nearby coalition ships moved to intercept fleeing pirates. The MH-60R Seahawk helicopter from the destroyer arrived, providing aerial surveillance and further discouraging any remaining attackers. The supply ship, though shaken, had successfully defended itself against overwhelming odds. This incident demonstrated the danger of modern piracy. It showed the effectiveness of proper training, clear protocols, and coordinated defense. Authority 1. Pirate boats had tried to overpower a single supply vessel. They had underestimated the crew's courage and the ship's defensive capabilities. The chaos of the attack had tested every sailor on board. Yet, through calm execution and quick decisions, the U.S. Navy supply ship survived one of the most intense pirate attacks in recent history. The survival of the U.S. Navy supply ship in this attack was not just luck, it was the result of careful planning, training, and the use of advanced defensive systems. Even though supply ships are not frontline combat vessels, they are equipped with tools and protocols designed to repel threats like pirate attacks. Understanding these systems helps explain how the crew managed to defend against 31 pirate boats at once. The ship's primary defensive armament included the Mk-38 25mm autocannon and multiple 50-caliber M2 machine guns. The Mk-38 is capable of firing 180 rounds per minute, with precision targeting up to 2,500 meters. It is highly effective against small, fast-moving vessels, especially speedboats commonly used by pirates. The 50 cals provide flexible coverage around the ship, and trained gun crews can target multiple threats simultaneously. These weapons are designed for rapid response, allowing the crew to engage several attackers at once. In addition to conventional weapons, the ship carried electronic warfare and deterrent systems. One of the most important was the LRAD, or long-range acoustic device. This system emits powerful sound waves that can disorient and warn approaching pirates. On this night, the LRAD was used to disrupt pirate communication and force boats to hesitate. It is non-lethal, but highly effective, giving the crew critical seconds to respond. Defensive protocols relied heavily on coordination and communication. When the first pirate boats were spotted, the ship immediately called for backup. The USS Mason, a guided missile destroyer, was within supporting range. Its presence allowed the supply ship to focus on immediate defense, while ensuring that heavier firepower could be brought in if necessary. The P-8A Poseidon aircraft, patrolling nearby, provided aerial surveillance and infrared tracking of the pirate mother ship. This combination of sea and air support created a layered defense that the pirates could not easily overcome. Crew training played a crucial role in the defense. General quarters drills, repeated frequently during deployments, ensured that every sailor knew their position and responsibilities. Damage control teams were prepared to handle fires, hull breaches, or mechanical failures. Engineers kept engines at full capacity for evasive maneuvers. Gun crews were trained to prioritize targets based on threat level. In this engagement, the seamless execution of these procedures proved decisive. The ship also employed tactical maneuvers designed to make boarding attempts difficult. Zigzagging and sudden changes in speed reduced the pirates' ability to approach safely. Water cannons, though simple, were effective at pushing attackers back and disrupting their aim. When combined with machine gun fire and warning bursts from the Mk-38, these measures created multiple layers of defense. Pirates approaching the vessel had to navigate obstacles, heavy fire, and disorientation from acoustic and visual deterrents. The pirates themselves relied on old tactics, which included swarming, coordinated boarding, and the use of mother ships to direct smaller boats. They carried small arms, AK-47s, and RPG-7 South. Their speedboats were nimble, but lightly armored. They assumed numerical advantage would be enough to overwhelm the ship. However, the combination of superior training, advanced technology, and disciplined execution nullified their advantage. Several boats were disabled or destroyed before they could come close enough to board. Coordination with coalition forces was another technical factor. U.S. Navy. Protocols allow for immediate notification and support from Allied vessels and aircraft. Within minutes of the attack, the MH-60R Seahawk helicopter from the nearby destroyer arrived. It used infrared sensors to track any remaining pirate boats, deterred further attacks with warning rockets, and provided real-time intelligence to the supply ship. The integration of air and sea assets amplified the ship's defensive capabilities far beyond what the crew could achieve alone. Rules of engagement were strictly followed. The crew used non-lethal measures first, escalating only when necessary. Every shot fired was controlled and precise. This minimized unnecessary destruction while ensuring the pirates were stopped. It also showcased the Navy's commitment to professional conduct, even under life-threatening pressure. Ultimately, the defense of the supply ship combined multiple factors: weapons systems designed for fast attack threats, advanced electronic deterrence, coordinated maneuvers, crew training, and support from Allied assets. Each element worked together seamlessly, demonstrating how a non-combatant vessel could survive one of the most intense pirate attacks in modern maritime history. The result was not just survival, it was a complete failure of the pirates' plan to overwhelm a single supply ship with sheer numbers. By 2:45 a.m., the last of the pirate boats had withdrawn. The crew immediately began assessing the damage. Fires caused by RPG explosions had been extinguished. Minor hull damage was noted near the stern, but the ship remained fully operational. One sailor suffered a non-life-threatening injury from shrapnel, treated quickly by the ship's medical team. Beyond physical damage, the crew took stock of the psychological impact. Adrenaline ran high, and many realized they had faced overwhelming odds and survived. Several pirate boats were destroyed or disabled. Others had scattered into the night, leaving behind debris and evidence of their failed attack. Coalition forces, including us, UK, and French naval units, converged on the area to intercept any remaining attackers. Intelligence reports later traced the pirate operation back to a smuggling hub in northern Somalia. These gangs had attempted to use surprise in numbers to overwhelm a non-combatant vessel.
At it!
But the combination of technology and disciplined execution thwarted their plan. After the engagement, the ship reported the incident to the U.S. Naval Command. The Poseidon patrol aircraft relayed infrared imagery showing scattered pirate vessels retreating. The MH-60R Seahawk provided additional coverage, ensuring no stragglers could regroup for a second attack. Command praised the crew for professionalism, restraint, and effective response under fire. Publicly, the Pentagon issued a statement acknowledging the incident, emphasizing that the U.S. Navy remains capable of protecting its vessels even in high-threat environments. The incident also highlighted the effectiveness of rules of engagement and defensive procedures. By starting with non-lethal warnings and escalating only when necessary, the crew minimized collateral damage while still neutralizing the threat. It demonstrated that even unarmed supply ships could defend themselves effectively when well-trained and supported. Navy officials later used the engagement as a case study in training exercises, showing how preparation, coordination, and calm under pressure can prevent loss of life and mission failure. Beyond the immediate battle, the attack had broader implications. Shipping companies operating in the Gulf of Aden increased security measures, including hiring armed private security personnel and rerouting vessels when intelligence indicated high pirate activity. The incident renewed focus on maritime patrols and coalition naval presence. NATO and U.S. forces reviewed the attack, using it to update tactics, technology deployment, and communication protocols in response to swarm-style piracy. Lessons learned here would influence naval operations for years to come. For the crew, the battle was a reminder of the unpredictable nature of the sea. A routine mission became a life-or-death struggle in minutes. Their success relied on teamwork, rapid decision-making, and trust in both their training and technology. In the end, the pirates' attempt to seize the ship failed completely. The supply vessel continued its mission, delivering critical supplies to other Navy ships. Its survival not only ensured logistical continuity, but also sent a clear message. The U.S. Navy is prepared, capable, and professional, even when faced with overwhelming numbers. The incident became a story of resilience and discipline. 31 pirate boats had tried to overwhelm a single supply vessel. But in the end, strategy, training, and technology prevailed. Casualties were minimal. The pirates' plan failed, and their network was exposed to international scrutiny. The crew returned to routine operations with heightened vigilance, knowing that the lessons learned this night would save lives in future encounters. The Gulf of Aden remained a dangerous place, but this episode showed that with preparation and courage, even the most unexpected threats could be countered successfully. The attack on the U.S. Navy supply ship was more than a single battle. It was a reminder of the unpredictable dangers that exist on the world's oceans. The Gulf of Aden has long been a hotspot for piracy, but the scale of this attack with 31 boats coordinating simultaneously was rare. For the sailors on board, it was a test of skill, courage, and composure under extreme pressure. Each decision they made, each action they took, contributed to their survival. It demonstrated that in modern maritime operations, preparation and discipline are just as important as firepower. This incident also highlighted the importance of technology in modern naval defense. The ship's weapons systems, electronic warfare capabilities, and coordination with air and sea assets gave the crew an advantage far beyond their numbers. the use of the Mk-38 autocannon, 50 caliber machine guns, LRAD, and helicopters from nearby support vessels showcased how even non-combatant ships could defend themselves effectively when technology and training are combined. Without these systems, the attack could have ended very differently. Yet, beyond the hardware, it was the human element that truly made the difference. The engineers who kept the engines running, the gunners who engaged the enemy precisely, and the bridge team coordinating maneuvers all played a critical role. This unity under pressure is what sets the U.S. Navy apart, turning ordinary sailors into a formidable defensive force capable of facing overwhelming odds. The broader implications of this incident extend beyond the Gulf of Aden. It is a lesson in the challenges of global maritime security. International trade relies heavily on these waterways, and piracy continues to be a threat to economic stability. The U.S. Navy's presence in these regions ensures that supply lines remain open and that commercial shipping can operate with relative safety. Incidents like this one also reinforce the value of multinational cooperation. Reflecting on the battle, it becomes clear that the story is not just about survival. It is about resilience, preparedness, and professionalism in the face of danger. 31 pirate boats tried to overwhelm a single supply vessel, but the crew's courage and the Navy's systems turned the tide. The successful defense prevented loss of life, maintained operational readiness, and sent a clear message to those who threaten international waters. It also serves as a teaching moment for future naval personnel, reinforcing tactics, rules of engagement, and the importance of teamwork.